Today I wanted to talk about training, so floristry training. I started out in this industry by getting a job in a florist shop when I was at university. I went and did music at university, and managed to walk myself into a job off of 5-6 photographs of work that I'd done for my brother's weddings. I have 6 brothers, so it's quite a few. But yeah, that was my first job. I'd done work experience when I was 13, 14. I was awful at it in a florist shop. So yeah, first job in a shop, and that for me was a really positive experience. It was a very forward-thinking florist in Oxford. She was very, for her time, she was very forward-thinking, and she was very good at helping me as an 18-year-old learn to communicate with people. I remember when we were making hand ties, we weren't allowed to really talk about flowers. We had to talk to the customer. We had to ask them stuff about, how was their day, what were they up to, how's work going, what's the weather doing, all of that kind of stuff. So that's by the by. But that shop experience, learning in that shop, helped me start my journey. So I worked with her for a couple of years, and then I went to another shop, which was more of an interflora shop. So it was kind of bouquets, hand ties, funeral work, and that was day in, day out. That's what I did. And the thing that I learnt from that was that I find it very easy. If someone shows me a picture of a funeral piece, I can just copy it. It really, I don't find it hard at all. So that was another good thing. And it was also the great thing about working in a shop for me was the pressure. You just had to get things done. I still remember my first customer I served, and all he bought was 2 stems of longiflorum lily with a bit of eucalyptus, and I had to gift wrap it. I was terrified. I can remember almost wanting to cry because I was so, petrified of doing this. But my boss just stood there very calmly, just made me do it, and I just had to crack on. And it was fine because it was 2 stems of lily and that was it. Anyway, so with the shop side of things, that for me worked. I definitely developed quite quickly. I found dealing with customers, learning to deal with customers was really helpful. The pressure of just having to get stuff done was really useful for me. So that was my beginning into the floristry industry. When I set my business up, I started it with my sister-in-law. I decided to go to college and go and do a level 4 in floristry. And the world of floristry opened up a bit more because I came across European floristry, more modern stuff, because that was what the tutor was interested in. So it was a side of floristry that I'd not come across before. It was quite interesting. So that sort of developed me to a certain extent. But for me, the lack of pressure around having to do stuff, it didn't work. I felt like I was developing more when I was dealing face-to-face with customers, growing my business. I felt like that's where I sat more comfortably. And as my business has grown and people have come to work for me, I found that's been a constant question as new florists come into the industry. How do I get training? What do I go to college? Do I work in a shop? Do I go to workshops? Do I do a career change course? And the world of floristry has opened up a lot more. You can go and spend £6,000 and do a career change course. You'll spend 4 weeks in this space and you learn everything. You'll pay through the teeth for it, but you'll learn everything. And for some people, that works a treat. That's their way in. Because in those 4 weeks, you'll also learn social media stuff. You'll learn how to put your business online, and that's really useful. So I would probably always go for either working in a shop or going to a workshop or something like a career change course, because I think you get much more hands-on experience, and it seems to work better for me, I feel. But I think it's also, as you develop, it's working out what works for you. So it might be that you need that less pressurised environment of a college where you can spend an hour putting together hand tie and learning the mechanics of it without having someone breathing down your neck. And I have, like I've mentioned previously, I've had different sorts of people come work for me. Some are college taught and some aren't. Because the other aspect of it as well is you do get florists in who are self-taught. Who've looked on a YouTube, who've probably talked to 2 or 3 people, but they've taught themselves. And that's another thing, you know, if they are a credible florist, I'd jolly hire them. It wouldn't bother me if they're self-taught, as long as they can do the job. So there's different ways in. I don't think there's any right or wrong way. I would maybe question college in that it can be a bit old school, but actually if you've learnt the basics through it, then I don't really see the problem. But it's worth thinking about how you work as a person, what works best for you, what environment you learn best in, and then go find it, and, you know, go and get that environment to learn in. But it's worth thinking about especially before you financially pay out for something, because they are not cheap, especially career change course. I mean, even doing my level 4 I was shelling out sort of £2,500–3,000 to do that course. And looking back, I don't think it taught me a huge amount. I think I could have learned more online, or I could have just gone to a couple of workshops. So do think about the financial implications of what you're doing. But again, if you're unsure, go and talk to people. Go and stick stuff online, ask questions before you engage with a big thing like that. But those are my thoughts. If you've enjoyed this video, click subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you soon.